We've done JoJo's in the classroom, and a lot of y'all wanted JoJo villains in the classroom, which we also did. But now y'all have started asking for JoBro videos, and who am I to not oblige with the JoBro videos? Now for this video, I will be using a JoBro from each part. I may use multiple, I may not. It really depends on how I'm feeling once I get to whatever part it is. But we are going to talk about how they would interact with a classroom and what they would do, what type of student they are, and basically what their rep would be. And if you do enjoy this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But let's get straight into it, starting with part 1 with Speedwagon. I would include Will in here, but you know what, fuck it, I'll talk about Will too. But Speedwagon in specific, he's not going to school. He's just a modern gangster, honestly. When you look at Speedwagon in the beginning of part 1, he was on the street. Mind you, Speedwagon's same age as Jonathan. Around the same age, I'm pretty sure. Didn't go to school. Was not in school. Was not in college. He was not doing none of that shit. He was on the street hustling rich niggas like Jonathan. Stealing their money. Taking their jewels. Holding them for ransom. Making sure him and his family has something to eat at night. And I think it's more of the same. However, I do think he pulls up sometimes, and I do think the only reason he hasn't officially been kicked out of the school is because whenever there's a test, he does really well on the test. Speedwagon strikes me as someone who, even though he's on the street, he's very, very smart. Very, very smart. We saw his street smarts in action when he first went to Jonathan's house, met Dio, and was like, hey, your brother is a fucking weirdo. You should low-key kill this nigga. That's still so crazy. Speedwagon really said that to Dio first time he met him. But Speedwagon definitely strikes me as one who, yes, he's not in class. Yes, he's skipping class. Yes, he does not care about the class. But at least quizzes and tests he does well on. So he has like a high D. Maybe late C. But you just know all the homework, classwork, all that, he's not getting done. And you're not seeing him most of the week, so get used to it. As far as Will Zeppeli, though, I see him being as more of a decent student. But again, another one you're really not seeing most of the week. But not for street activities, just for the fact that he has better things to be doing than going to school. Like, I feel like you would see him, obviously, more than Speedwagon. But, like, you would see him so that he can meet up with his friends, discuss plans for what's after school, and leave. Really. But honestly, Will, I have a little bit more faith in Will. You know who I really see that for? Caesar. That's why we need to talk about Caesar right now. Part 2, Caesar. Caesar is not, he's another one who's just not going to school. For almost all the reasons I listed with Speedwagon, but also with the reasons I listed with Will Zeppeli. He's going there so that he can talk to girls. He can chill in the classroom, not do anything, talk to his friends, hang out, you know what I mean? But then midday, lunch, come lunch, you're not seeing him for the rest of the day probably. I still remember that sometimes too, like when I was in high school. It was people, they would barely be here. They would pull up late at like 9. Lunch at 11:30. Come lunch, I don't see him for the rest of the day. School don't end for another 3 hours. And the thing with Caesar is I also just don't see him turning in his work at all. I don't see him doing good on quizzes or tests. I just don't see him caring in general. Like, he's just going to find some side hustle outside of school, hang out with his friends outside of school. Basically the people that you already, if you've been in like high school, the people you already see that just do not take school serious in the slightest. Like, it'll be a school day at 10:30 and you'll see him at the fucking movie theater or some stupid shit like that. Honestly, adding something a little bit in, I think Caesar would even be borderline class clownish when he's in class, but I can't give him the class clown title because I don't see him being in class often enough for him to even be called that. He's probably just called the kid with like 100 absences, 100 tardies. Like, even if, and that's my whole thing, even if he does show up, he's probably going to be tardy. It's finna be late as shit. Up next, we have Kakyoin and Polnareff. Now, for Kakyoin, we know, I really honestly don't even need to go far long into Kakyoin's, like, time in school. He's literally just the quiet kid that you don't dislike, but again, you're like, oh, well, he's there. He's like the quiet kid who looks mean. Quiet kid who looks mean and sad and depressed. The one you see sitting at lunch all alone, or you don't even see him at lunch because he's somewhere else on campus that no one else is. That's how lonely and sad and depressed Kakyoin was. And that was his school life. Like, that was just who he was in school. Now for Polnareff. Now, Polnareff in school is definitely a class clown. He's a class clown, but he's also like, see, the thing with Polnareff, he's not the JoBro that gives me super senior vibes. There is one that I will talk about later. And if you know, you should know just based off me saying super senior vibes. You should know who that JoBro is. He's not the one who gives me those vibes, but he is the one who gives me vibes that, like, he would be like damn near a school hoe. Like, the entire school would know he's going. He's fucking everything moving. He's probably one of those ones where, like, you know more about his reputation outside of school than in school. I feel like most of the JoBros so far, that's their reputation. You know more about them outside of school than in school. Also, I see him being like a D minus student, few C's, 1B, uno, 1B, and a singular A for most of the years in high school that came from gym class. Came from gym. Like, Polnareff, he's definitely not at school to learn. He's there to socialization. He's not there to make, well, he is there to make friends, but he's not there to make friends with the teachers. Polnareff is probably low-key, like, I could see him being a sports jock, but, like, not one of the traditional sports. Even, I could see him being any sports jock, but one of the first ones I was thinking was something like, nah, that's a stupid sport. I was about to say a really stupid sport. Yeah, I could see him being like a football player or something. Yeah, I could see him being an athlete. So he's going to be at class, but he's a class clown basically. Like, almost basically a class clown, but not completely, because he's still trying to talk to mad girls. Part 4. Again, another part we low-key see them in action, but not too much. Not enough, honestly. Part 4 needed more, like, in school, in classroom scenes. Since we already see them niggas in school on the regular. Whatever. But, right, part 4. 1, Okuyasu and Koichi. Okuyasu, like I talked about with Josuke, if him and Josuke are in the same classroom, they are both class clowns / they're making the teacher's life hell. They're making the teachers separate them. They're finna be passing notes across the classroom once they get separated. Them niggas is laughing at everything. They don't get, I mean, they tried to do their work. I'm not gonna say they don't get their work done. They try to do it, but they may not necessarily understand it all the time. But with Okuyasu, I think Josuke, like, tutors this nigga. Low key, I think he tutors this nigga. Because again, with Josuke, I believe he gets good grades mainly just because his mom don't play that, and she would be on his ass, ready to drop kick him in the stomach if he didn't get good grades. With Okuyasu, he's a little, just a tad bit slow. So I think he definitely goes to Josuke for help, and they try to study, but they don't really study well. So I don't see them getting that good of a grade. But I can see Okuyasu sneaking in a good amount of, like, C's. Maybe a few B's. Shit, maybe 3 A's. Not for a semester. Just on a random quiz. And then with Koichi's just a good kid. Yeah, I don't really have much for Koichi except he's just, good kid. Really solid. Always doing his work. Getting shit done. He's probably another one you never see him talk to women, but that's not necessarily his fault because he is a friendly person, but he has a crazy girlfriend who would just, you know, almost kill the woman if he talked to her. Because I don't know if y'all do remember that one episode where we see them doing after school activities, and Koichi, he walks away or does something, and Yokaku sets the girl's hair on fire while choking her with hair. What the fuck? Part 5. Who in school? We could do Narancia in school, where we know he, well, if we're doing Narancia in school, we also have to account the 5 years he's taken off since, because again, he stopped going to school at what, like 10? Then he randomly picked back up after Bruno paid for him in the hospital and told him to go to school. But then he joined the mafia. So yeah, he's one. I don't even think he's like a class clown or anything. He's probably one of the ones where like they're sitting in the back, he got his headphones on, but he's definitely a tweaker. Everyone at school knows he's a tweaker. And if you don't know what I mean like, you mess with him, I dare you to mess with him, cause he might kill you. Narancia got some anger issues deep seated, and they come out in the craziest ways. The thing with Narancia throughout part 5 literally was he was getting mad over the smallest shit. It's like 4 instances I can remember off of the top of my head of him doing crazy shit off of small things. For example, first time we see him get into a stand bite, I forget who was against. Bro, as soon as he figured out who the enemy was, this nigga started shooting up the car like there was no tomorrow. There was so many that car had to have 500 bullets in it. Or when he stabbed Fugo with a fucking fork. Well, no, Fugo stabbed him, then he picked up a knife and he was about to stab him. Or when that guy bumped into him and he had a stain on his white suit and he was like, "Oh, you gotta pay for that," and he picked Narancia up, and Narancia picked his glass up, right here. I think he's getting in school fights. Not even think, he's definitely getting in school fights. He might actually end up getting expelled like by the end of the year. Cause the thing with Narancia, if you even try him, he's just going straight to violence. It's no, what's up? It's no, oh, I don't want to fight. No, it's just straight violence, straight hands, anger. But besides that, he's chilling. Music on, blasting, chilling. But try him, hands. Then you also have the other half, Fugo. Another one, straight hands and feet. But the thing with Fugo is he's a good student. He's getting the shit done. You know, he's top of the class. Oh, valedictorian probably. He's probably valedictorian level. But his anger issues are so bad that he probably keeps his great kid status solely by fighting people off campus. Literally, after school, he's probably chasing people, walking them down to their house while they're walking to their house, and he just starts throwing them bitches, starts hitting them. Fugo, like, those two, understandably, it makes sense, they're gangsters, but damn, they have some crazy anger issues that are just on display throughout part 5. But with Fugo, you would probably just think, oh yeah, everything's fine. You know, you probably think he has all these different extracurriculars and hobbies and all that, and he definitely does. But he leads a secret double life, one where he's just letting out pent up aggression. I'm not doing Bruno for this one because even though I count him as a JoBro, I feel like I've talked about Bruno so much, I don't need to add him into this one. This is the one exclusive one where I'm talking about part 5 side characters. I don't mention Bruno. And plus the video will be way too long, but you ain't hear that from me. Even though you did. Part 6. Okay. Man, this is a cast of characters to choose from. All of them you would probably not want to be friends with. Let me not say that, but most of the side characters you just wouldn't want to be friends with, genuinely. Hermes, well, if you aren't friends with Hermes, you have a higher chance of getting your shit stolen. I'll say that. Hermes, she's poor. So since she's poor, and it was shown time and time again throughout the series, since she's poor, she will steal money and she will hide it. She definitely can. And it's on top of the fact that Hermes, she has a vendetta, V for vendetta, and she had a whole purpose on going to prison, which was hunting down her sister's killer. So there's also the fact that she's not mentally stable. I can promise you she's not mentally stable. Honestly, he's not going to look at you as a friend. He's going to look at you as more of a pawn that he can use whenever. And if you were to cross him, which God forbid, you're probably going to end up in a body bag on some highway in Central Florida, or you're ending up in the Keys. You know, he's just tossing. He might just dissolve you in some acid if he can find it. I mean, shit. Because I'm not going to lie. Him dismembering his girlfriend and her affair partner and, you know, all that, I don't think that was the first time he did it. It definitely wasn't. He's always loved to take things apart and put things together. And that's another thing too. Imagine you're at school and you see this nigga taking apart a phone. You know, I think honestly he's more of a weird kid. Very, very weird kid. Very, very, very weird kid. You know, he's one of the kids where you're kind of worried because you're like, what is his fascination with removing things? Until you fuck up and cross him. Then you find out. Weather report after the accident. I just pray for you. Not for you in specific. I just pray for whoever comes across him and says anything. Just says anything that he could take as offensive or angry, or he even has a chance to let his anger out on you, because he will. Oh, he will. He's gonna let his anger out on you right before he tries to kill himself again. Part 7. All right, now for these last 3 parts, we're doing one side character. Okay. Part 7. Obvious side character, Gyro Zeppeli in school. I see him. Well, if we're doing modern and he's keeping like his prestigious lineage, I'm still seeing him, you know, as a good kid in school. It's not really doing much. I do see him as someone who sneaks around and does everything in the dark, just because of the fact that if he gets caught, his parents strict, it's over. He's a kid with strict ass parents, but that don't stop him. That shit stopped nothing. He's still going out every night, going to that party, still out past curfew. He actually has more freedom than you, and you probably don't even have strict parents. His parents are probably stricter than yours, and he has more freedom than you, simply because he's sneaking around and to do all the shit he wants to do. He's not letting time go to waste. That's one thing Gyro isn't doing. Part 8. Now it's time for the super senior. Super duper uber senior. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to end it off on part 8 too. The uber duper super ultra senior. It's probably 19 years old. Joshua Higashikata. Listen, bro. Listen. Joshua Higashikata is the definition of a shut-in, no good, no job. Wait, does he have a job? I'm pretty sure. Didn't he say he had a job, but it was like a weak ass job or something? Because I still remember the panel of his father looking at him like, when he said something about a job. Either way, he either got a weak ass job or no job. Bum. His family is rich, and they barely even trust him enough to give that man $50 bucks. So not only will he in school probably be a rich douchebag, got all the new tech gadgets, all that shit, right? Not only is he a weirdo and a creep, because you'll just see him looking at girls in the hallway, creeping on them. He'll be the nigga you have to reject 7 times for him to walk away, and while he's walking away, okay, fuck you. You was ugly anyway. Not only is all that, it's probably an uber senior. The super duper uber senior. He has no direction in life, no moral compass. He just does the things he wants to, and then, like, his family, they don't care anymore because they feel like he's low-key a lost cause. So, you know, they just let him go to school, get his graduation. But after graduation, everyone knows that he's probably going to get kicked out. So everyone's just mentally preparing for the day where he's on the street and he's asking you for $1. Because still, I'm not going to lie, still to this day, it blows my mind that this man asked his father for $50. Mind you, this is the same family that did not notice $4 million going missing when Jobin's wife went and got her nose redid. Well, no, went and got the the Hokagekhi fruit. Did not notice, and it was probably more than $4 million if I remember correctly, but didn't notice. But $50, they can't give him $50. They did give him $50, but it was so reluctant. I was like, bro, oh my god. But that's really all I got for y'all. If y'all enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You know, we're on the road to 5K, so anything helps. And until next time, peace.